California might just be the best state for roller coasters, and a lot of those coasters have amazing elements. So today, let's set apart these elements individually and rank up the 25 best coaster elements in the state of California. Before beginning the countdown though, let's talk about SeaWorld San Diego, the one major park in California I've yet to visit. There are a few elements that could have made the list, like the inline twist on Electric Eel and the vertical drop on Electric Eel. Furthermore, Manta's second launch and Emperor's first drop are elements that could have made the top 25. With those honorable mentions in mind, let's get into the list. Number 25, the vertical drop on Superman at Discovery Kingdom. This is Superman's biggest drop, and you get a nice combination of airtime and laterals as you twist to the right and into the non-inverting loop. I usually prefer out-of-your-seat moments over intensity, which is why you'll see many more airtime moments like this on the list. Number 24, the inline twist on Flash Vertical Velocity at Discovery Kingdom. Heading back to the front of the DC Universe section of the park, we find a very unique Intamin Impulse coaster. This is the only Intamin Impulse to actually feature an inversion. That inline twist provides some awesome hang time, going forwards and backwards, especially if you sit in the front. If you sit in the front, you will get multiple seconds of sustained hang time. This is really a great moment in the best on the coaster. Number 23, the high five on West Coast Racers at Six Flags Magic Mountain. After launching up to 55 miles an hour, your first element is this high five, and on both sides, you get an awesome moment of sideways ejector airtime. The white side in particular really ejects you out of your seat, and if you hold down the comfort collars with your hands, you won't get neck chopped, which makes it even better. Number 22, the airtime hill on hangtime at Knott's. Off-ride, this moment doesn't look like anything crazy, but when you ride it, you realize that you get a sharp pop of ejector airtime here. It's awesome, and with the lap bar only restraints, you feel every bit of his airtime. It is pretty quick, but the power definitely makes up for it. Number 21, the zero-G rolls on Flight Deck, Batman, and Silver Bullet at Great America, Magic Mountain, and Knott's respectively. There's just something about these B&M invert zero-G rolls that are so good. The way you get width through them and the way you take them hanging under the track instead of over it, it's just sensational. All three of these B&M inverts are very different from one another, but one commonality is that this is the standout moment. B&M knows how a zero-G roll should be done, and that's one of the reasons why B&M inverts can be awesome. Number 20, the launch on Revenge of the Mummy at Universal Studios Hollywood. This $40 million coaster isn't impressive on the stat sheet, but it's got a whole boatload of theming and a decent launch, getting you up to 40 miles an hour. The LIMs have a kick to them, but there's no doubt that the theatrics leading up to the launch definitely help as well. Ultimately, Revenge of the Mummy is more about the theming, but the fact that it has some force makes it a really good coaster. Number 19, the inline twist on Superman at Discovery Kingdom. This is another terrific hang time moment at Discovery Kingdom, and there will be more. After rising to the top of the tower, you slow down and slowly twist upside down. Remember, Superman just has a lap bar, so you really are hanging. It's kind of a scary moment, definitely too scary for some. Number 18, the pretzel loop on Tatsu at Magic Mountain. This pretzel loop is intense, and it's the best element on Tatsu, which is one of the most impressive flying coasters B&M has ever done. A flying coaster is already a unique sensation, and not one you feel on any other coaster. And then the pretzel loop is something completely alien when you compare it to every other roller coaster. Being put on your back like that on a roller coaster is kind of bizarre. But it's well executed, and it's the best part of Tatsu. Number 17, the first drop on hangtime at Knott's. After rising up 150 feet, you drop at 96 degrees. And no matter where you're sitting, you're going to get flown out of your seat. But especially if you are in the back row, you will get some awesome ejector airtime. As I mentioned earlier, hangtime just has lap bars, which is a great decision and allows you to fully experience moments like this. For a ride called hangtime, it's ironic that its two best moments are airtime. Number 16, the first drop on X2 at Magic Mountain. Now this might be a little low for some, and I must confess, I was only able to snag one ride on X2 when I visited the park in March, but this drop is just insane. As if dropping near vertical face first wasn't enough, you drop 215 feet and go 76 miles an hour. Staring at the ground as you drop over 200 feet is an intimidating experience. Alan Schilke is nuts. Speaking of Alan, number 15, the Top Gun Hill on Twisted Colossus at Magic Mountain. Is this the element's real name? Well, no, it's a camelback, but since it's the Top Gun stall for the green side over top, it seems to make sense. This is a great moment of airtime, and if it's dueling, you can see the train going above you. Number 14, the final hill on Joker at Discovery Kingdom. This is a great finale to the ride, and even though not all of Joker is crazy powerful in terms of airtime, this is an exception to that rule. You really get flown out of your seat, and there's nothing quite like a good old camelback. The wave turns, the twisted airtime hills, all that are awesome, but a straight up camelback always gets the job done. Speaking of good finales, number 13, the final drop on full throttle at Magic Mountain. This airtime moment is short-lived because of the trim brakes, but you know what, it's still an awesome moment of ejector airtime as you drop over the vertical loop and vertically down to the ground. Here's another ride that is benefited by the fact that it just has lap bars and no over-the-shoulder restraints. This moment is already so fun, and I just wonder, how good could it be if there weren't trim brakes halfway down the drop? Number 12, the mid-course drop on Ghost Rider at Knott's. Here's the only moment from Ghost Rider on the list, but it's a darn good one. This kicks off the wild second half of the ride, and after taking a little bit of a breather in the form of a right-hand turn, you pass through where originally there was a mid-course brake run, but there isn't now, so you get lots of airtime, especially in the back. And because of how much this ride warms up over the course of the day, it just gets better and better and better. Number 11, the first hill on Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Here's an element that's equally good on both sides. After the first drop in the speed hill, you fly over this awesome camelback, getting ejected no matter where you are on the train. It's powerful and sustained, really an awesome moment. Now, before we get to the top 10, if you're enjoying what you're seeing so far, I would appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing down below. Number 10, the second drop on Railblazer at Great America. Here we have yet another RMC, and there's many more to come. Railblazer is a powerful ride, and this second drop is a prime example. When I say you get yanked out of your seat, you really get yanked out of your seat. If you're in the back, this moment is even more powerful. You go as far as the restraint will let you. Is this drop very tall or very fast? Well, no, not really, but with a drop so powerful, it almost doesn't matter. Number 9, the first drop on Joker at Discovery Kingdom. Like the aforementioned Superman, this is a drop that combines airtime and laterals. I like the twist on this 78-degree drop, and I think it's an underrated drop among the RMCs. This is the best airtime moment on Joker, and once again, this is best experience in the back seats. Number 8, the first drop on Twisted Colossus at Magic Mountain. A lot of the same things in regard to Joker apply here because it's an RMC. A few small differences though. It's 21 feet taller, goes 4 miles an hour faster, and is 2 degrees steeper. It definitely feels like an 80-degree drop. You get flung over it. Number 7, the 0G rolls on both Twisted Colossus and Joker at Magic Mountain and Discovery Kingdom respectively. Once again, we go to these two RMCs for some of the best hang time in the world. The entry and exit into this element has some whip to it, and you feel like you're upside down for a very long time. The 0G stall on Joker is a lot of fun, but the one on Twisted Colossus is even better. The Top Gun stall has that dueling feature where the blue side goes through its camelback and the green side inverts over the top. Just such a cool sensation, and overall, for both coasters, an excellent inversion. Number 6, the top hat on Accelerator at Knott's Berry Farm. We go back to Knott's for one of the best moments of airtime in California. If you're in the front, you'll float out of your seat on the way up, but if you're in the back, you will float all the way down, and it's a big drop, over 200 feet. The Intamin T-bar restraints only make this better too, and floating down a 200-foot drop like that is an awesome feeling. And like some of the other coasters on this list, it has a unique flair with that twist on the way down. Number 5, the barrel rolls on both Twisted Colossus at Magic Mountain and Joker at Discovery Kingdom. This is the last time these rides will come up, I promise. These inversions are just stellar. You get a little bit of hang time, but they're just so fluid. For a company known for building so many awesome airtime machines, it's kind of funny that the best elements on these coasters are the barrel rolls, at least in my opinion. Number 4, the vertical loop on full throttle at Magic Mountain. This is one impressive inversion. It opened as the world's tallest vertical loop. And even though it's lost that title in 2024, it still is very impressive to look at standing over 150 feet in the air, and the hang time you get on this thing is unbelievable. The lap bar only restraints make it even better, and this is the only time on a coaster where I felt the blood start to rush to my head. Not in a dangerous way or anything, but that just goes to show how long you're upside down for. It feels like forever, and it's one of the best hang time moments in the world. Number 3, the twisted airtime hill on Railblazer at Great America. This is one of the most powerful airtime moments I've ever experienced, and the off-axis angle makes it even more crazy. That restraint is the only thing keeping you in, and you fly up as far as you possibly can. It's one of the most powerful ejector airtime moments ever put on a coaster. As good as that is, I still prefer number 2, the RMC Raptor's first drop on both Wonder Woman Flight of Courage at Magic Mountain and Railblazer at Great America. Specifically though, I think Railblazers is a bit better. I'm not quite sure why, maybe it's the extra speed you have going in, but I think that moment is more powerful than the one on Wonder Woman. So let's stick to Railblazer then. This is a powerful airtime moment, just as powerful as the one we talked about a moment ago. I like the twisted airtime hill because it's unique, but I think a straight drop on a coaster is the best potential for airtime. And when it's taken with some speed going in with a vertical angle, there's no wonder why it comes in at the number 2 spot. Number 1, the launch on accelerator at Knott's. We've talked about some pretty wild coaster elements in this video, but this is one of the more insane ones. 0 to 82 miles an hour in 2.3 seconds using a hydraulic launch system. It's almost tough to describe how fast this acceleration is. I understand why companies have strayed away from using hydraulic launch systems. They're problematic, but when they're done well, they can be incredible. So there you have it, the 25 best coaster elements in the state of California. There are so many good coasters in this state, and so many elements that I would have loved to include it, but there just wasn't a spot for them. And there were some coasters that didn't even get a mention, like Medusa at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, or Apocalypse at Magic Mountain, or Gold Striker at Great America, that are all very solid rides. Clearly, this list was dictated by Cedar Fair and Six Flags Parks, or I guess with the merger, Six Flags Parks. Disney didn't have a single coaster mention, and Universal only had one. So there you have it, the top 25 coaster elements in California. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.